Welcome to Pitch in the Zone, our weekly gathering of coaches who help one presenter with a 3-minute pitch. Our coaches are Nathan Gold, hailing from San Francisco, specializing in high-stakes presentations. Scotty Spursum, also from San Francisco, with a focus on language. Up from Chicago is Michael Marchak. He is a CTO, author, speaker, and also an investor. We have Rick Pollack, who is a presentation skills coach, and then several people who have been already in the seat that our presenter is going to be today, and that is Jess Owens, Debbie Krusik, and Ron Carty. And Scott Peak will be our presenter next week. Welcome to Pitch in the Zone. This week is a very special week because our presenter today normally is one of our core coaches team. But today he switched sides and he is going to present an investor pitch. So all of us coaches put on the investor hats. And with that, Marco, the floor is yours.
Suppose you want to go on a romantic trip to Venice. What would you do? I guess using one of the many aggregators like Trivago or Kayak, you can find your flight, your hotel, but what about the tour itself? Welcome to TripGuided.com. How does it work? It's free. You do not need to register. You simply type the city name, Venice in our case. It will show you the most popular tours according to the 4 major players, Viator, Musement, Leisure, and Tickets. Then you can type a keyword, gondola in our case, and you will see all the different tours in Venice on a gondola. Of course, you can see the details, the reviews, and the similar tours. Now, you can ask me, why cannot I just use a single website? If you ask me that, it means you never tried. It's a nightmare. They start opening new windows, pop-ups, banner, things to click, open this, close that. It's really a nightmare. And then when you finally find the tour that you want, there is no way to compare it, maybe to the same one, just to find it cheaper somewhere else. So with TripGuided, you save both time and money. How are we doing on social media? We are more than 2,000 followers on Twitter, more than 70,000 on Facebook, and more than 4 million combined views on our videos. And how do we make money? Well, we signed a contract more than 1 year ago with the 4 major players. Again, Viator from TripAdvisor, Musement, Leisure, and Tickets. And we're making, it's commission-based, we're making from 4 up to 10% for each and every booking. Plus, we are working with local businesses to provide local advertisement. What are we looking for? Of course, we're looking for an investor to help us advertise the business in exchange for an equity in the company. But most of all, we are looking for somebody who can help us to make TripGuided become the best brand for tours and activities, because this market is still pretty empty. And what are you waiting for? Go to TripGuided.com and, for example, type in the city that you were born in. You will find so many things interesting that you never thought of. And once you're there, just book one tour. I will stay here waiting for my commission. And don't forget, part of it can be yours too.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Marco. Fabulous job, good pitch. Definitely an improvement from last time that you were here at Pitch in the Zone. And what I found so amusing today, People on the video that watch the video won't see this, but right at the moment when I was thinking about, there could be a story, right at that moment, Michael was making a comment in the chat box about stories. So Michael, please elaborate a little bit more on that.
I love the way this is turning out, but I think you probably could have tied it all together with a story about, and even brought in some of the COVID concepts right now, which is we've all been stuck in our house and everybody wants to get out. And to do that, we need to figure out what we're going to do. And we all want to experience something new. And then maybe tied together with, my wife and I, my girlfriend and I are looking to do this thing, blah, blah, blah. And we just couldn't find what we were doing. So that's why we created this site to really bring this all together, to create experiences or to find experiences for us to do. And we tried it on other sites. It just was an awful experience. But using this one site now, we can do all these great things. And based on the way we do it, we can get a commission off for helping people like me get these new experiences or something along those lines, where you're tying the whole story together about, and that's why I created it. That's why I did this. This is where we're going for us. I found this and tie it all together. I saw bits of that, but I think you could have really strung the whole thing together pretty tight with an interesting story and kept people engaged with that as you told the story of the why. So, but I like that. And also, I know you've been a stickler on slides. Some of your slides, I think, probably could use a little help.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. Scotty, you're taking notes there. What have you noticed? Take all the time you need and help Marco make this pitch better.
Sure. Marco, actually, it was much tighter than before. So that was really great to see the progression. Really, really great. And I agree with Michael that a story would be interesting, and also during the COVID time. A couple of things. I'm curious about domestic travel. Like if you're pitching to U.S. investors, you might want to have a different deck that shows, U.S. travel rather than European travel, because I think with COVID, that's probably going to open up more quickly, is my guess. And also when you, in the beginning, you started off with going to language. In the beginning, you started off with a slower cadence, and then you started to speed it up. And the words weren't as crisp, so they started to slide together. And I think you need to work on a little bit of that part of the delivery. And then I didn't hear why you. So like, why you, why this, why now? So I think that could make it even more powerful. And then also in terms of an investor, if I'm an investor, you said we could invest for a percentage of equity, but that wasn't the close, right? The close was book a tour and I'll be waiting for my commission and it could be part of yours too. Well, that sounded a little bit self-serving to me. I think it would be book a tour and try it out. If you can join us to become an investor, you too will share in the commissions, or something like that. You can say it a little bit differently. So those would be my comments for the moment.
Thank you very much, Scotty. And I might circle back to you. In the meantime, Nathan, what have you noticed and what kind of feedback can you provide for Marco?
Okay, Marco, thank you. So first of all, you were at 2 minutes, 59 seconds and right on the spot. So I know that you were aiming for that because that's a very important part of presenting to you. And I totally respect that because most people don't. So well done on that aspect. I really like that you got to your solution before the 30-second mark in a 3-minute pitch. Most people take at least a minute, and you were already into your solution at the 25-second mark. So that was excellent. I liked your demo, the way you had it self-running and you did the voiceover on top of that. You weren't doing a live demo, were you? Yeah. So that worked very cleanly in that it's always going to run the same way every single time. There's no chance of failure pretty much, or very little chance. So I appreciate that you recorded your demo and played it back for us. The one question I have is, are you aggregating data from different sites to provide the results that you provide?
Yes, it's 4 by now, but we are already signing other contracts.
Okay, great. I just wanted to double check because I hope you understand that investors love aggregators, because if you're one of the people being aggregated and you go out of business, tough shit, you're gone. But there's three others that might do what you do. But if you're aggregating and one goes out of business, it doesn't really matter, because you're the aggregator. You're not trying to be the destination site. So I would recommend you use the word aggregator somewhere in your presentation with investors, because they like that word.
Okay.
I thought your delivery was outstanding. Your facial expressions were just awesome and authentic, as I expected. And you're delivering every word from the heart. You're not reading anything, I suspect. And it's just really, you're down here in your delivery. And I don't want to repeat some of the other things people said, so I'll just keep going. Impressive stats for the short period of time that you've been doing this. The stats were pretty impressive. It's a good amount of data that you put on the table for an investor to start chewing the fat over, so to speak, and ask you questions about, and it gives a clear indication of your go-to-market strategy. So those signed contracts, whew, that was like the biggest credibility in the entire presentation. That actually overshadowed who you are to me. The fact that you have those 4 contracts, it almost doesn't matter who you are, but it does at the same time. Yellow and black, I would never surround a yellow letter with a black line, because that's danger. In nature, yellow is don't eat, don't touch, stay away, danger, danger. So better color there. And I loved your ending too. I really liked how you ended. I would like to see the smooth out about the challenge to the audience, but I do like the way it sounded. I may not have liked all the words like Scotty mentioned or Michael mentioned already, but well done, really well done. I can't wait to see how you raise your money. And
Well, start booking a tour.
I can't wait to see the results that you get when you talk to investors.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Very, very good feedback. And I think I and everybody on the call here agrees. Really, really superb job, Marco. It's very seldom that I hear Nathan almost gushing without, having at least 3-4 recommendations for improvements. So that alone is already, job well done. Jess, you've been in that seat. You are in the same kind of role that Marco is right now. What kind of feedback do you have for him, especially from an investor mindset?
First of all, I think it was great. I mean, finally we get a pitch that I'm like, this guy is doing a great job. So well done. I immediately looked up Austin, Texas. I like the things that you suggested. I loved ending. That was great. I couldn't wait to get off this call and look at my city. So I really like that. I think the stats were impressive, but you talked through them too quickly. I tried to write it down. I said, did he say 70,000 Facebook followers?
Yes.
So slow that piece down. It's very impressive. I want to hear it. Do the pause, whatever, do your thing. And then finally, like everyone else said, I would send this to a graphic designer, because you need to make these very professional. And then I think you're ready, because you are phenomenal and the product is great. Your traction is great. Now I just need it to look more professional so that I'm ready to invest. So that's it.
Thank you.
Superb feedback. Thank you very much, Jess. And moving right along to Rick. Rick Pollack, what kind of feedback can you provide?
Well, I agree with all the comments so far, but a couple things, Marco, that I really liked. I loved your beginning where you just said, suppose you wanted to take the trip. The way you set the stage, showing that, and it brought me to visualize, yeah, I want to take a trip. I've been cooped up for a year. I want to take a trip. And also you had something about differentiating yourself. And that, I think what you said was, if you asked me why, you never tried. And I thought that was very effective. And also the whole structure of saving time and money, how we make money, why to invest. One thing that I thought could be stronger, when I saw TripGuided.com, I thought you were differentiating from a kayak or the Expedia or some of the others, that you were actually providing some kind of guidance or guides. And I didn't, that's what I thought. It was like, there was that besides just booking an airfare and hotel, you were actually giving some more information, something that the other sites didn't have, with an actual guide to tell you what to do or how to book that. So I got confused at the beginning, from that, but I think you probably, with the stories, as Michael said, or some of the other people said, I think you can get a little bit more differentiating yourself on TripGuided from the other sites, other than, I got that you're easier to use than the other sites. And I know it's tough in 3 minutes, but if you can try to beef that up a bit. So I would look at it as an investor and said, TripGuide is the only one who can do that, other than being easy to use. But I thought the structure and the message was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the name came from, I guess, I didn't choose the name, but it was like since you travel, you have a guide. So it's TripGuided because it's about tours and activities. That's where it comes from. But
great.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. And moving on to Debbie. Debbie, you have been sitting in Marco's chair last week and also the second time. So very similar situation. What kind of feedback can you provide to Marco?
It sounds really very interesting. And like Jess said, I'm going to go check it out. And also, I did think you went fast through those numbers, because I was trying to hear too what you said about traction you had. And based on what I heard, it sounds like you're doing great. You have the 4 contracts, you have all these numbers. So the only part that I was a little confused with was the investor, because it sounds like you were asking for help to, it sounded like more like you have, the 2-sided platform, right? So you have the one side going good. Now you need people to go and start booking. And so I wasn't clear on what you wanted the investor to help with, because it sounded like you had already gotten so far with so much. And so that was the only thing I was trying to get a better grasp on. But I really enjoyed it. It's very interesting, and did a great job.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. And moving on to Ron. Ron, you have seen this pitch before, actually in a live environment, if I remember correctly.
I have.
What kind of feedback do you have, and how do you compare it to that version that we've seen then?
Much crisper, much more to the point. Just a couple of observations. I think, let me just say, at the end of the story, and people have already mentioned the story, a good story. But in my mind, there was no relation to the story, to the benefit. So if we'd have added something like, that's the story, so you can see why people use us. You can see why the business is going to be successful. I think adding that little bit would have just compounded the success story. And then when you went on to how do we make money, just before that, say something like, now for those of you that get involved, this is how we make money. Otherwise, there's a detachment. And then finally, my last point was, that's already been covered, book, and I will sit here waiting for my commission. That was, somebody's already said that was a little bit glib, I think. So if we say, so when somebody books, now you can see how we all make money from it. Somewhere along those lines, but much better than the one I saw that was live in Thailand. So well done. So they're just 1 or 2 little comments. All right.
Great feedback. Thank you very much, Ron. And that's actually an amazing thing, because usually our perception is that when we see a presentation live, that it's more engaging and more exciting and whatever. So this, again, big congratulations to you, Marco, to pull this off and even surpass the feeling that the audience gets watching you live, with all the energy that you brought to the table then. So really, really well done. And we also have Scott. Scott, you are going to be our presenter next week. So what kind of feedback do you have at this point for Marco?
Well, the one idea I had was the idea of a story. That I like that comment that was made, because that would capture and make it more, clearer right away out from the very beginning. This is the first time I had seen the presentation, so I was not able to have the ideas of that you had from the past, but the transition also to the solution I like, because I all of a sudden I grasped it, what are you looking for in terms of the solution, and for the program. So it was great. My only fear is I have to follow it next week, and I'm hoping to do a good job. So, but it was very good.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Scott. And Ka-Meng, I'm not sure you are here for the first time. You also came right during the pitch. I'm not sure if you're ready to even provide feedback to Marco. If you are, please unmute yourself. And all right, might have stepped away. No problem at all. So I'm going to do something that usually I don't do at Pitch in the Zone. And that is to ask the presenter, how do you feel about the pitch that you gave today? I know you are experienced and you have this internal meter that lets you know, okay, I'm happy or I'm not so happy. What are your thoughts, Marco?
Yeah, I'm generally happy the way I delivered that, but I've kind of felt that especially some transactions were not smooth, right? And that was probably because, as a lot of people said, there's not really a story behind it. And of course, now that I've been told that, I say, yeah, actually they're right, And of course, it would take a kind of rewrite of the whole thing, but of course, having a story behind that, everything will feel way smoother, and the transaction will be way better. And in fact, I felt, well, there are 2 points in my presentation where I really feel I'm kind of jumping between different topics. So they could be used for, improved if I have a story behind it. So yeah, thank you everybody for pointing that out. It's for me, it's hard because, like, really, I keep saying I wrote software for the past 36 years. So to me, story and software is something that they don't go along too well. So I'm more on the technical side than that. So
excellent.
That's part of your charm, Marco, is that you're able to actually communicate effectively as an engineer, as a programmer, which most can't. So when you add more of that story-ish approach to this offering for an investor, it'll be much easier on their ears and it will be more memorable for them.
Yeah, it's really
to
tell you the truth. Yeah, that's the problem. To tell you the truth, if I try to make a story, to me, it sounds fake.
Then don't be fake.
Yeah, well, but especially when I try to make a story in a pitch, like that I have to put feelings into it, even though they are 100% correct, even though they are 100% true, I feel like I'm telling a lie. To me, telling a story with feelings, it's blah. It's fake anyway, even if it's true. That's just my feeling. That's why it's hard for me to put feelings in a story.
Yeah. Well, you did a pretty good job putting feelings into your story today. And in this little rant you just gave us right now, there were a lot of feelings in there too.
Yeah, well, but
well, and you have the start pieces of it already on your website. So I was noodling on it, and you have our history, right? So TripGuided was created in July 2018, which I didn't know from the pitch, by 3 digital nomads. So you've already got.
That's a great start. Right there,
your story. Yeah, you don't need to make anybody else's story up, really.
No. Sure.
Like the hook with are you ready to go to Venice? Are you ready to go to San Francisco? Or however you lay out your hook, which was lovely because we all do want to go somewhere. But a little bit more of your background and that you're the
can I tell you the truth? Like 2 hours before pitching, I had an idea with a new start. And the start
Uh-huh.
was, no, okay.
No,
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 go
no,
ahead.
go.
Oh,
I'm
the
just
start-
shaking my head
the
about that
start-
start.
The start was, fuck COVID, let's go to Venice.
In some circles, that might work,
Yes.
but you never want to.
But to your point though, that's really the case you're going on there. That story is that's authentic. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not the language perhaps, but that's authentic. Like, aren't we tired of this staying at home? I'm tired of being locked in my house. I want to get out. That's why we've got this platform. That's a great hook to grab everybody because everybody else is tired of it too. And it's authentic.
Yes.
It's also good for mental health to plan a trip or, plan something to look forward to. So now, I don't know, there might be something in there too. Like, and now's a good time to start researching, and we offer the best platform for you. We've got this many followers. We aggregate from 100 different sites or whatever. I was again looking at your website. So, I mean, you've already got all the pieces. You just get to fine tune it, I think.
Yeah. And
Sure.
I think, the problem with your new opening wasn't the gist of it. As Michael just said, the gist is actually really, really valuable and builds the foundation for story. And you and I, we see each other often enough. I can help you because there is some small little switch in mindset. And once it clicks, all of a sudden you start to filter the entire world as a running story with different chapters and so on. So the one thing I want to point out, though, that you also did so excellently, and we don't see that too often because we see these practiced pitches that follow this formula of there's a problem, here is my solution, this is why I'm qualified to do it. But what you did is you actually started with the problem, you went into the solution, but then you went back into the problem. All of a sudden you started to, it popped up again. And by doing that, you're creating this contrast that starts to sink in much, much differently. So just wanted to point that one out as also something that's actually effective is once you're done with the problem, doesn't mean you're done with the problem. Bring it back again and again to reinforce, this is not what we want. This is what we want. So Marco, really, really great job. I think you are a testimonial for pitch in the zone in general, how much improvement that one can make by constantly observing, thinking about how to improve pitches, not just your own, but other people's pitches as well. And I want to thank you for being our presenter today. Great job. And of course, also all of the coaches, thank you very much for your feedback, valuable to Marco, as well as to everybody that's on the call and watches this video later on. With that, I wish you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and see you again next week. Bye-bye.
See you next week.